Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another classic investment video. Today I'll be talking about some things that you can either invest into from the auction house or try to farm yourself. The reason why I'll be highlighting the items that I will talk about today is because you can get them fairly cheap in the first couple of weeks. But after a few months, all of these items will definitely become more expensive. The first item that is important to invest into is the elemental fire. Elemental fire will be farmed all over the place when people are leveling, but as more people get to level 60, the price for this will also increase. The reason for this is because the elemental fire is used for the greater fire protection potions. And the greater fire protection potions will for example be needed when you do Onyxia and Molten Core. As I'm talking about the greater fire protection potion, you should definitely also look out for the recipe for the greater fire protection potion, because this is something you can also invest into and most likely make a profit on. The next material that I will be investing into is the Righteous Orb. These will most likely not be that expensive in the beginning of Classic WoW. The reason for this is because a lot of people will do Stratholme, and in Stratholme there's a high chance of the Righteous Orb. At some point, less people will do this dungeon, and therefore there will also be less of these showing up on the auction house. But the reason why I'm interested in investing into the Righteous Orb is because you need these for different things. You do for example need these for some of the best enchants in the game, and whenever someone get a new item, they might also need one of these enchants, and that's why there will be a huge demand for the Righteous Orb in all the different phases of Classic. The next material is the Black Lotus. In original Classic, the Black Lotus was fairly cheap in the beginning, but at some point it became more expensive as more people also needed these. You need to combine a Black Lotus with some other materials to craft different flasks. And these flasks will most likely be mandatory, also because the content is more difficult this time around. If you don't want to invest into the Black Lotus, you could always farm these yourself. I've made a guide with tips and tricks, spawn locations and more, and you can find this in the description or on my channel. The next item that I like to invest into is this formula, Enchant Chest with greater stats. If you manage to get this yourself, you're most likely looking at 500 all the way up to 1000 gold. If you can get this cheap on auction house, I would definitely recommend you to invest into it. An item that I'd invested into back in original Classic was this Transmute Undead into Water. Back then I resold a few of these and made a couple of hundred gold every single recipe. Some of them I also learned myself on my own alchemist, because the Essence of Undead usually costs less than 1 gold each, and the Essence of Water is more than 10 gold each. Do notice that this Transmute has 1 day cooldown, but if you have a few of these, it's definitely a decent way to make gold every single day. Another formula that is important to highlight is the Enchant Weapon with Crusader. This usually costs a couple of hundred gold, so if you can get them cheap in early Classic, I would recommend you to invest into them. Next up is another material that will also become more expensive as we progress in Classic. The Golden Pearl will most likely not be that expensive in the beginning, because people will find these when they're leveling in between level 40 and all the way up to level 60. But when more people reach level 60 and they start to need this, and less people are also leveling in the open world and find the Golden Pearl, then the price for this will also increase. The Golden Pearl will be needed for all of Classic. In the beginning of Classic, you'll need it for example the best in slot healing chest for Priest. At the same time, you also need a Golden Pearl for the Ruined Arcanite Rod, and this is important if you want to craft the best enchants in Classic. The Enchant Weapon with Spell Power is the best spell power enchant on weapon for all of Classic. So this will be needed for all the different phases, and therefore at some point when people get more gold, the price will also increase for the Golden Pearl, and there will still be a high demand for it. Alright, so that's about it for this investment video. If you would like to know more about investments that I do for different phases, gold making videos or other Classic guides, then make sure to check out the channel. As always, thank you for watching and have an amazing day. Peace.